Alright. I guess I'll get back into it. If I must. And I don't have to, but I will. I've been missing more days than I intended to. That's usually what happens with holidays, though. You never expect to get caught up in as many things as you do, and then you do. But the holidays are over. By holidays, I mean the one day. The June... Not the June. The July 4th. It's already July 6th. What happened? I don't drink, so it's not like I blacked out or anything, but it feels like I slipped through time. Just a wee bit. But I'm here now, doing the same old, same old. Getting into my routine. At least I hope so. It's going well so far. I've only had that lapse recently, and it's because it was July 4th. So I really don't even blame myself too much. The heck is this Zelda? I have never heard this one. I'm gonna look. What are you? Wind Waker Grandma's theme. No one cares about that old lady. That old hag. What does she even do? Make soup when I demand it? That's how it should be anyway. Don't even get me started on the sister character. Yeah, this line art's gonna be... I'm going back and I'm touching up the line art a bit on this page. Some things that are a little wonky looking back on them. Now that I've had time to not look at it and come back to it later. So I'm going to touch that up and then we're going to do the rest of the page, as it were. I can't do a long stream today to make up for the day that I missed yesterday. Also known as July 5th. But I can do a longer stream on... I could do a bonus stream on Saturday, I think. Should have time for it. It is my day off then, so I could do that earlier in the day, which is my normal schedule. But on a Saturday, so I could do that. And I will. I'm gonna do it. You can't stop me. Even if you could, I wouldn't listen. I will say I have noticed I've been getting more YouTube subscribers. I got 2 more out of nowhere. I don't know who they are, where they came from, or what they want. But I do have... I don't know. I've been blowing up, basically, is what I'm saying. I'm almost famous. What's funny is, catching up on my VODs for the archive, I noticed that I accidentally clickbaited people again. Probably into thinking that I had a much more interesting VOD than I actually do. Because I titled it something... One of those, like, ambiguous lifestyle journalism articles, or those video posts where they're... Like, you'll see the posts that are titled something like, they'll have a headline. And it'll be, "This man changed his entire life with this one simple change." Or this one addition to his daily routine. Or there'll be those emotional posts, like, it's like, "This woman was never the same after this happened to her son." And it's just like, you'll know, that kind of ambiguous drama posting meant to draw you into some kind of emotional life story. I titled one of my most recent YouTube videos, "Come and Watch a Man." struggled to tell his story, and I didn't think about it at the time, because in context to what I was doing, I'm just trying to make a webcomic, and it's hard. So I'm struggling to tell this story. But then thinking about it later, watching that video get like 16 views in like 3 hours, it was very funny. I was like, oh no, I know exactly what's happened here. I've clickbaited people into thinking I'm interesting, or that I had something interesting to show. But no, it's just me making a comic, and it's hard. I do have 2 likes on that video, which is more than I get on anything else on YouTube normally, because it's all VOD uploads, so anything more than 0 is greatly unexpected to me. But it was funny. Seeing the accidental clickbait will do its thing. And I now know a more... I now know a naming convention for my YouTube videos that would stand to increase my views if I were to approach it in that way in the future. It's not lying, it's just making things ambiguously dramatic. That seems to be what you should do. If you want YouTube views, that's my pro tip to you. It worked for me accidentally for 1 video upload. Alright, now we gotta adjust these lads. So just both the layers. And I'd say let's widen this man. He looked a little too narrow when I was scoping this out before going live. So let's fix him. Might have to do a little bit more than that. Now this looks a little too wide. I don't know. Let's just shift the pieces around until they form a beautiful jigsaw. Or something that I can deal with and tolerate as I move past it mentally and onto other things. Probably be farther back, actually. The idea is he's holding his hands behind his back like some kind of asshole. That's how they do it. These overly sophisticated MFers. You know the ones. This is a difficult balancing act, getting the sleeve to look good, though. And then we gotta go here. Should really lighten this up even more. These guidelines, they're distracting. I should go like 11% as a default, maybe. Now his helmet can be wider. Not like that. That shape looks ridiculous. That looks a little better. Now, how am I going to get this to look good? I have no... It's proving difficult. So for those of you who were here during that one stream, which is probably like one person, if that, if anyone ever comes to see this footage in the future, For anyone interested, let me broaden it. For anyone interested, there is a webcomic artist who operates mainly on YouTube nowadays. They were on Twitch, but they have vocalized hatred towards Twitch. And YouTube is doing very well for them. But they are the creator of this comic I brought up on stream at some point, called Cast Off, and they have been talking about physical releases for their, I believe the first 4 chapters of their comic, their webcomics. Cast Off, by the way, if you're interested, all one word. And that's gotten me interested in just thinking about what they're doing right now is they're revising their pages, at least on stream anyway, to where they are making their word bubbles more consistent and changing the font to be the one that they ended up using later because they swapped a bit to a different one. I don't know, maybe like 5 chapters in. I'm not entirely sure on the specifics. But it got me thinking like, oh man, what would I have to do in order to revise all this stuff? And that's just the lettering changes too. They've spoken about doing art revisions for physical copies, and it's like, to that, I can understand doing that to an extent, but I don't even know what I would change or how I would make it easier on myself. Seems like a nightmare to have to do artistic revisions. Especially for something that, by that point, would be super old. Like, if you're making a webcomic, you're gonna be making it for years. And when you commit to, like, revising stuff for a physical edition, I don't know how many years later, it just seems like a rough process, man. A rough process, to say the least. This should be higher, actually. I haven't actually entirely settled upon these leg plate designs here. Maybe it needs to be even thinner? I don't know. Maybe just higher up here? No, I don't know, dude. I'll have to go back and change. That's something I have to go back and revise, is this whole deal. Because on the other panels, it's just, like, directly connected into the torso like that, but that looks wrong. So I'm gonna fix it. You should have a good starting point with your old pictures, then you can just recreate them with your new drawing style. What's up, Freeze, by the way? Welcome in. I guess it would take less time than creating it for the first time. Yeah, that's true. But it's also like, what do they mean by revisions? With the lettering, I can see it, but I don't know. Maybe it's just they're talking about effects layers, because I can't imagine. There are people out there that will legitimately go back and remake chapters of their original comic. Just full-on pages, sometimes full-on chapters, and I can't see myself doing that. Far too much work, especially for the ambitions that I have for this series, which is to make it go on for a long time. But even just like in terms of, I guess what it would be is like what I brought up, the effects layers maybe, adjust some of the lighting, perhaps, touch up the render, maybe fix up some continuity errors. I don't know. I've only seen the creator. Her name is Starfish Face, I believe. Hope I'm not getting that wrong. I do read their comic, and I even tune into their stream sometimes, so the fact that I can't remember the name exactly is a little embarrassing, but they usually just call her Star in my defense, so. I can imagine with art revisions about bad things they couldn't fix because of bad skills, like bad hands, stiff poses, and perspective changes. That's the thing, right? It could be that, but that would take, like, so long. And also, they haven't done art revisions on stream, from what I'm aware. It's just been the lettering stuff, so I am curious what they actually mean. The extreme is that, you know, you go back and you do you fix up literally the fundamental illustration itself. Like, you touch up proportions, anatomy, and perspective and all that. But what I'm imagining is it's probably just, there's only so much you could revise. Maybe like some composition stuff, you shift the elements that you already drew around a bit. Fix up some of the lighting, time will tell, that's true. I'll just have to wait and see. They are doing a Kickstarter at some point. I don't know if it's live right now. I don't think so, because they're doing the stuff. They're fixing up the pages for the... I could check. I could check and just make all my dreams come true. Let me look. I doubt they have one up. You know, they do have Kickstarters for their how-to webcomic book, which I have not bought, but I have been a little interested. I think you could just buy that. It's their 2023 edition, Wayne. Is this paid for? Oh, this was bad. But for me, I don't have to worry about that for a long time anyway. Because I'm just starting? Hello? I just got here. Some would say I'm not even there yet. I haven't even uploaded anything, so... Some would argue I haven't even showed up. And I would agree with those people. Let me check. All good here. And then I gotta draw a dang sword because I'm an anus. A heinous anus. To myself and to others. Mainly me, though. I try not to make my problems other people's problems. But I guess it's now your problem, because you have to watch me draw the sword. So there. Do I have anything without words on it? Probably. Let me look. I got some stuff without words. Ooh, this is a great one. I actually need to touch up this page too a bit. I will do that off stream. Alright, we can see the sword here. It's pretty simple in its design. Complex in its simplicity, but simple in its complexity. Well, what do you say? Don't you well with a kappa at me? That could only mean any number of things. What if I game and watch your stream on the side? No, you can't do that. You're gonna do what literally everyone who uses this website does? How dare you? Then I will need to listen and not actually watch your sword drawing. Well, then I will describe it in excruciating play-by-play detail. And then no one will be happy. My stream will be a nightmare. So for this part of the hill, what you want to do usually when drawing a sword... I can't even feign that act for long enough to make it an annoying bit, because... I don't know enough about swords. Press 4, flip it, reverse it. One thing that was cool that I can talk about was my import, my Japanese import for Princess Mononoke. It showed up, my Blu-ray edition imported all the way from the glorious land of Japan. The Sunrise Nation. Is that it? Let me look at it. Japan. Japan's nickname. No, not Nippon. What is the other one? They call it something. I think it involves sunrise. Land of the rising sun. There we go. So easy, because it's east of China. That's where it came from. But yeah, I got that imported. I checked out the subtitle. They have the typo in there. Most people don't even acknowledge this, but I see it every time because I've watched that movie many times. They keep when Ashitaka shows up to the village, the Ironworks village. They keep calling him handsome because I get, you know, why not? I guess he's a handsome boy. Everyone's allowed to comment on that. It's fine. But like, at some point they call him an handsome guy instead of a handsome guy, and I see that every time. It's gotten to the point where I've decided to just make it a headcanon thing.
And I'm just like, maybe that's just how they said it. Maybe some, like, weird, back alley person said it. And they were talking, like, what would be the equivalent of hillbilly speak in American. So it's just like, you know, that sure is an handsome guy right there. That's my headcanon for justifying the typo. I see it. They never fixed it. But I'll always see it every time. That Japanese import, it has like all of the language tracks though. You could watch that movie in French, Spanish, German, all the audio track. Not even just the subtitles, but like the dubs that they have. They got every dub on there. And you can pair any dub with any sub. So you could listen to the French track with Japanese subtitles for some reason, if you wanted to. If you were like a part of, if there was like a cult following for that specific setup of the movie. You're like, no, dude, this is the best way to see Princess Mononoke. I swear, dude, you haven't lived until you've tried the French dub with the Japanese subtitle. It's the best way to see the film. Wouldn't watch the German dub? Have you seen it before? Or do you just have a bad feeling in general? Yeah, okay. I mean, the English one didn't fare any better. They just went with big-name celebrities. And you could tell they were not the most suited for the roles they were cast in. Kind of tonally all over the place. I am German after all. Yeah, I know that much. I just didn't know if you'd seen that. And then lived to tell the tale, from what it sounds like. It was not great. I'm sure it would sound fine to me, though, because I don't understand German. So I wouldn't know whether the inflections are off or not. Kind of like how most people view Japanese in general. If you're an anime fan, you're just like, even if the voice acting is bad, most of us won't even notice. Because it's just like, ah, yes. This is a language. I'm sure this is exactly what it's supposed to sound like. I would like to hear just an objectively bad clip of Japanese voice acting. Just to see, like, one that most Japanese listeners would hear and be like, yeah, that's awful. That doesn't sound... It sounds so weird. So emotionally dissonant from what the scene is trying to convey. I want to see just a blatant example of horrible Japanese voice acting. So that I could see whether or not I'd be able to tell it was bad or not. By the tone, you can usually know if it's a bad dub. I don't know if I'd be able to. I don't know if my ignorance would go that far. But maybe. I don't know why I'm not just drawing a circle here. I have the circle tool, so I'm just gonna do that. Let me just... Let me... Oh yeah, I have to set up my special ruler. Concentric circle, there we go. And I can move it. No, give me this one. You can delete the ruler. Now I need to think of an example. Take all the time you need. The worse it is, the better it is for me to judge it by. So just really just spend your time deliberating on the worst example that you found. Can't think of any at the moment, no worries. I'm not in a rush to hear bad voice acting. I'm curious if I'd be able to tell. I've consumed enough media at this point. I'm a bit of a stickler for voice acting, I know it. Where did I draw the sword coming from? Up in the chest piece. I just hit... No, but then I didn't do it there. Why did I do it that way? Okay, well... I'm gonna have to fix that. I also need to see where I did that in the past now. Ah, there's so many continuity errors already. I'll fix it. I'll fix it. It'll all look good when the prologue is ready to ship. And by ship, I mean get posted. Ding, ding, ding. Do I not have any of these saved? Alright, I'm gonna need to black out the screen then for a sec. Be gone. Alright. Let me just see where I did this before. Alright, I've drawn it most of the time, just coming kind of from in between here. I don't know why I did it that way, but I'll have to change that. Alright, have your eyes back. I'll have to draw a circle here so I remind myself. Here. Oops, wow, this pen is huge. Do that. Do a dotted line to know where the cutoff point is. And that'll be my reminder to fix that. Okay. That makes this easier, though. I can just kind of put the strap in here. We're better off drawing it like this, maybe? That is a tangent. Just a little bit, though. Can we get away with it? Probably. It is also fun to look at people who have been working on their webcomics for, like, years. Like 7 years plus, maybe. Because you see how much change has happened over the course of them making this sequential format story that they've been telling. And it's usually a pretty significant improvement. I'm just like, oh man, you're telling me I could get better someday? That's really all I need to hear. Is that someday I will get better. It is possible it can be done. Others have done it, so can I. You know, maybe. They also do art for, like, a full-time gig. Maybe quicker as well, maybe. Can I boil down 7 years of improvement into, like, 2? We'll see. I don't freaking know, dude. That's the dream. Is to just exponentially increase until someday I find out, oh, oops, I'm drawing concept art for each panel. I can scarcely imagine it. And of course, being a phenomenal artist does not mean you will be a phenomenal comic maker. For example, there's this artist, Wlop, W-L-O-P. They have a webcomic, I'll bring it up. Called, I believe it's Ghost Blade, let me check. Yeah, it's Ghost Blade. Every panel is freaking crazy. But, from what I recall, the actual storytelling was like, it opens up with it does the thing where it opens up with a freaking prologue. Just explaining lore to you, or at you. I think drawing concept art is pretty normal. I mean, wait till you see this freaking webcomic. I'll pull it up. Not for comic panels, man. You never put as much effort as you do into concept art as you do into a comic. But this person does. Everything is a concept art piece. You could tell it's rushed and like sketchily rendered just so they could actually do this in a timely fashion, but even still. This is made by WLOP, also known as Wallop. Long, long ago. But they do this stuff. This is like the quintessential do not do this, stop it moment that everyone tells you when you start writing a story. It's like, don't give people a lore dump. It's boring. People don't care. They'll tune out if it's too long. But yeah, let's just scroll through the panels and just take a look at how nuts this is. Like, everything's crazy here, artistic-wise. I saw something similar, just this heavily painted style. Like, one day, a man called Gould kidnapped an... Like, you could just show this. I'm sure it was an intro. You could convey this through dialogue and action. We just get an image and then a text box explaining what all this is. And it's kind of like, it's not nearly as interesting as, like, having seen it happen. We're just glazing past it with a bit of lore to describe it. When the word of this reached... The King of Angels was in... Who's the King of Angels? Why do I care what he thinks? What does he want? Who cares? See, this is just like... I won't rag on story. This artist is definitely well known enough that I'm not really punching down, so I don't feel too bad about it. I will acknowledge that they are very much better than me in a lot of ways, artistically. You gotta sandwich your criticisms with compliments, so I will say there's a lot to respect about what they do here. Like, this is still the prologue. If you're gonna do, like, this lore dump prologue, there's two tips that they often give you. I will regurgitate here. One is to keep it simple. Like, if you have all these specific names and stuff, like Austin, and, like, the Heaven's Eye, Heavenly War, and all these, like, specifics, try not to do that. Try to keep it ambiguous. Like, a great war, important people, the gods. Try to keep it just vague so that people can at least hold the information in their head. If you start giving, like, names and dates and stuff, that's when you lose people entire, like, specific locations. That's when people are just going to be like, I don't even know what any of this is. Why is this important? It's like history class at that point. And no, but 200 years... Don't do that. But yeah, Wallop is a great artist. I would never criticize that. I will just say, though, storytelling-wise, never do the lore dump prologue. Never, ever. Doesn't matter how good of an artist you are, I doubt you can carry people through that. Through text dumps. That's why my own comic, after I've had that idea repeatedly beaten into my head, does not start with a lore dump. I almost did. I will say, I'm not exempt from criticism on this entirely. I almost did do a little bit of a lore dump. But I thought I could be cute with it. What I thought I would do was... And you know what? I can actually open up some of these panels, or these pages, because they don't have text on them. I have chapter 1... Yeah, just like this. I would have stuff like this where there was no words. And then I would have, like, can I even show... How many... I'm not going to use these, so I guess I can show these. What does this even say, dude? Yeah, I had stuff like this. So what I would do was, I would have a page with no words. And then I would go to, like, this. It would be like I would alternate between the lore dump and imagery that was just text. So I would just keep and then I would swap back. So it would be like this, next page, then this, and then another black page with text on it. And I thought by breaking up the flow, I could make it more interesting, but I eventually... It is pretty cool, right? It's an interesting concept, but I couldn't get it to work the way that I wanted it to. But I thought by breaking up the flow with images and then the text dump and keeping it simple, like, you know, ambiguous, like I said, that I could make it work. But I just decided in general that I would rework the prologue, and we're just going to be here instead, doing what I've been drawing for the past few months. I would, you know what I could do in the future is I could flesh out how I would have originally done the prologue as like a bonus thing to see how it might have been. But that was the initial idea, and I don't think it was terrible. But at the end of the day, it was just I looked at it, and it was just kind of a text-based dump, just being hidden between other images, so... I don't know if the coolness of the idea could have carried it past that. But maybe it could. I don't know. Maybe I should have stuck with my gut. Maybe it would have been better. I don't know. I am liking how this prologue is turning out, though, so... can't complain too much. This is the comic you showed me, remind me of. Let me check it out. Let's get it up here. So I think I've heard of this one. Her Summon. 3 years after he shuts himself away from society, surrounding himself with 2D friends. Oh no, Otaku GQ finds himself summoned to another world by a petite summoner who needs help. Oh no. An isekai webtoon. Ugh. I should have guessed. People call an obsessive fan. Hello, I am young... What the hell? Young kid? From Oh My Lady. Are you now? You're recording a video. Specific memory usually focus on... Yep. Focusing on the youngest member. KID or kid. I'm just gonna say kid. But it's this story as it is a story of getting out of depression. Alright, alright. I just, you know... I see the concept of an isekai and I get scared, so you gotta give me some slack. It's pretty good, okay. Is there a reason why you only like young kid? Excuse me. Calm down. I just love her. Everyone around me knows too. I'm a pretty famous... Alright, Freeze, now hold on. You can see how this first episode is, like, off-putting. Just copying that comedian who said he was a noodle lover? Linking the two words would make it like that? Alright, so they're aware. To record fan cams with him? You record fan cams with people? What the heck? I am not a fan cam creator. I have no idea. Say one wrong thing and now my life is ruined. I see. Okay. Yeah, I am seeing this though. Look at this environment stuff. Excuse me. Diagnosed with social anxiety disorder and panic disorder. Now I only trust in 2D girls who won't look at me in disgust. Brother, I'm right there with you, my dude. But yeah, this is cool. I like this shot here, this painterly. You could see it in his greasy, unshowered hair. And the environment painting. Yeah, this is pretty cool. Oh my god, the action sequences are already starting and it's killing a mosquito. That's pretty nuts. Now he's getting no game, no life. I see how it is. Reading her mask. The fact that you came in and knew exactly what it was. Immediately. But yes, that's what's happening. Also, welcome in here. Crazy scene, right? Yeah, he's just getting freaking... And now he's up here. Oh, look, he's fine. I did it. You summoned a dude. Wait, actually, how close are we to finish it? We'll just, let's just freaking... Let's finish this episode. I might as well. I finished the other episode of that other one. Let's just browse the art for a bit more. You know, this is weird. It's not often they leave the border of this kind of panel seen here. Me? An elementary summoner. My name is Maina Hayes. The Native Americans call it Maze. Call me Maina. No, I was gonna say the other thing. Did you say minor? You have a new name now. So you can help me defeat the gigantic monster right there. Oh, Jesus Christ. Look at that atmospheric perspective. The shift towards the blue hue. Pretty sick. Yeah, Mask, we were looking at webcomics, reminding us of concept art. When they're they got these painterly stuff going on in the composition and the rendering. So Freeze brought this one up. I've been checking it out. Divine Lord of the whitest world. Fear the power of the one true God. Oh my god, it worked. Or so we think. This is the one I was thinking of. That led down this rabbit hole. It's called Ghostblade. It's by Wallop. Just these people that go crazy for every panel. For no reason. Now we can go back to my garbage. I know, I'm sorry. We can't all be the creator of Vagabond, or Berserk, or the later volumes of Claymore. We can't do it. Does that look normal? Should I just get rid of this hand entirely? No, that looks dumb too. Get this out of here. I think we'll just keep the one arm up. We don't need the other one. I thought it would look better in the comp, but I don't think it does. That's a more balanced panel anyway. Yeah, that series looked pretty cool. It definitely, you know what's interesting is it didn't look hampered by the obvious deadlines that most of these places have. Or that they put upon their artists to get stuff cranked out. It looked pretty solid consistently in both the environment and the character rendering. That doesn't normally happen. And there was a good diversity of shots. Usually, and this was brought up on Star's stream, the person I've been talking about earlier, she brought up a point where if someone's under a deadline, they'll usually do a lot of close-up shots. Because it saves a lot of effort compared to drawing the body and the background. It's finished too, nice. Don't even have to wait for stuff to happen. Might be looking at that then. But yeah, there was a lot of good shot diversity in there as well. Which is a good sign that the team or the person behind it had good workflow and time management behind it. Or that the platform they were producing for actually let them express themselves for more than 2 milliseconds. Before having to crank out like 60 panels while making a non-living wage. You know what I hate? What do you hate, Mask? Lay it on me. When a comic is good but has an awful ending, yeah, that'll happen. That will happen. I'll have you know I've planned out the ending to my comic, and I like it. Who knows if it'll stay the same by the time we even come close to approaching that day, but I like it already. It's a good culmination of all of the plot threads that I've envisioned happening. That usually is what happens. If it has a bad ending, it is the result of a lack of pre-planning on the part of the creator. Or, you know, again, just the enforcement of deadlines that they perhaps were not ready to meet. Or they are unfair in general. Usually it's unfairness. Makes me want to go back in time and stop myself from starting it, yeah. But you can't... All you can do, really, is use it as an example of what not to do if you ever were to make your own story. Or at the very least, if it's any consolation, use it as a point of reference to defend your favorite series. It's like, well, at least my series that I really like back in the day, this one, didn't do this. And it'll make you appreciate those series even more. The ones that have good endings. Because you can't appreciate the good without seeing the bad. If every series you saw had a good ending, would they even be good endings anymore? I don't know. Sorry, I had to verbally destroy everything that sentence was leading to for a second. I had to rebuild it at the seams. It was going off the rails. I had to put it back on track. If everyone is super, no one will be. Okay, so we have that panel more sorted out to what I want it to look like, and now we gotta do... I think this is the last one that I'm gonna futz around with the line art for. Mainly the helmet. Gotta fix the helmet. Which means I shall open up the old design and see what we had going on here. Oh yeah, also, to bring up that concept of the alternating imagery that I had. Basically to disguise my lore dump. Try not to focus on the text too much because it's not relevant anymore. But you'll notice the first one here is just black. And then I would alternate to that shot of the mountain or whatever's going on. And then this would be the next one. There are now some embers here. And then there would be this glowing, this rising flame here. Until at some point, when we get back and forth between a few alterations, it would just be... like, look, it's just building up. It's becoming more heated. And then the final page of that sequence was going to be her here, like that. And it's an interesting concept visually to alternate between two very distinct environments or visual scenes in general. With the mountainside, the people, the two individuals there trekking along the mountain, and then that the stark black void with flames rising up in it. I think visually it's cool. But I don't know if it was enough to justify the lore dump, so I cut it, and we're doing this now. And I feel better for it. One in particular was a romance manhwa, where the final arc was a misunderstanding. I hate that. And like, without an explanation, the female lead just leaves a note saying she needs time. The male lead goes after her, they avoid each other for several chapters, they talk, and then there's a time skip that leaves a ton of plot points without finishing. Yeah, that does sound like that sounds like Deadline for sure. That sounds like Deadline Central immediately. Like, they had to get the finale of that series out yesterday, is what it sounds like. It used every trope in the book to conserve time and skip over actually doing... It did the misunderstanding arc, which is an arc specifically built around not communicating details about your story, because they probably didn't exist because they had to finish the story in like a week. And then they did the not talking to each other at all. They ghost each other, essentially. And then the time skip immediately after that, allowing for no resolution because they probably didn't have time to script it out to a satisfying degree. It's like, yeah, that just screams like the studio did not, or the person had no time to do anything at all. That's what it comes across to me. Let's see if I can better convey this armor shape here. But yeah, if there's anything I've learned how to be, it's a critic of writing. We'll see if I can actually put anything that I've critiqued in the past into use. So far, I like to think I've retained quite a bit. For example, I think the idea that I just scrapped my lore dump and moved on to making a prologue instead, almost entirely different from the original concept. That shows growth, at the very least. Or it shows a change in mindset. I don't know if it's growth exactly. I like to think it is. The prologue is more interesting than the lore dump. And even in stuff like, there'll be, like in Princess Mononoke, I would know, because I just watched it again, because my DVD showed up, my Blu-ray from Japan. There's like a little text blurb at the start that says, like, in the beginning, like, the spirits and the forest and humans all live together in harmony. And then that text blurb shows up, and then bam, you're into the movie. That's all you get. There's a little bit of text, but that's it. That's all you get. Then it's into the movie. The events of the film. And sometimes, now that I've been watching Tarantino movies, he does this too. But, like, in the middle of a movie. To add further information to, like, when he does a time skip, or when he's going to abbreviate or abridge certain events. There'll be like, just a narrator will come on out of nowhere. There wasn't even a narrator at the beginning of the movie. But there will just be a narrator in the middle of the film explaining some historical context or event that's going to happen. And then it jumps back into the next chapter of the movie. And it's like, I didn't even know you could do that. He's breaking the rules in such different ways. No narrator at the start, but narrator in the middle for just completely blindsides you. And the movie doesn't even feel worse for it. It does make sense to have it there. I don't even know. I don't know how he does it. Rules? I don't freaking know, dude. Writing, you think there's rules to writing, and then you see people do whatever they want. The only rule to writing is that there are no rules. Anything, if you can make it work, then it works. Yeah, as long as it works, that's the only rule. If it works, then it works. If it doesn't, then you did something wrong. And there's no specific cure to find out what you did wrong. You just have to see what other people don't like and what you don't like. See if you can kind of meet in the middle. Same with music, that's true. Ain't no rules. We made them up. And art. Yeah. There's no objectivity here. We could live in a different timeline, some alternate universe where Jackson Pollock is the greatest artist who ever lived, when in my eyes he's a sham, and I hate him. He was just on drugs all the time, and he made a bunch of garbage. I do not care for that guy. He is a CIA plant, meant to perpetuate abstract minimalism, which I don't much care for. This shape might be better. Let's try this one. That's not a conspiracy theory either. The CIA did have agents. And by agents, I mean artists. And they developed abstract minimalism. Specifically because we needed an art style that was different from those danged... I believe it was the Russians at that point in time. Those danged communists. They have all this unique stylings in movies and stuff. We needed our own thing, and the idea they came up with was diarrhea on a canvas. So, you know, or nothing at all on a canvas. That's art too, in a way, if you're the government in the 60s. And they fooled everyone. Not me. I'm too smart for that. CIA is doing all sorts of weird stuff, man. All the time they do this. Don't they have better things to do than make fake art styles? And the Unabomber, they did that too, by the way. The Unabomber was a guy who was part of a CIA, like, mind-altering... I'm not even sure what the program was originally intended to do, but they messed with his brain a lot. And he became, you know, that guy. Oh yeah, I want to share something I found on TikTok, by all means. Please get me to stop talking about the Unabomber. Literally anything but the subject of the Unabomber would do. I don't know how I got here. The Unabomber? Yeah, it's just some dude. He was part of a CIA program. They messed with his brain. I think it was a lot of drugs and maybe some form of electrotherapy. I don't know. Some weird treatments. Then he was a smart dude, but then after they did that, he started writing all these manifestos and doing random bombings on... I think they were just completely random, but, you know. They didn't even, like, find him. The only thing I remember about the Unabomber was that they turned him in. His own brother was the only reason they found out who it was. And it's basically it's a whole story just completely illustrating the incompetence of the American government. Or just, you know, one example of that, because we have many. Remember that manga where the girl basically breaks every single bone in a guy's face? Yeah, that's a pretty... And then she, like, snaps his arm in half? Yeah, I remember that one. Found another one of the fights. Also another thing, but after the manga. Alright, well, let's, I guess one at a time, then. We'll break each one down individually. Like that, like each bone in that dude's face. Yeah, but if the Unabomber sounds like a comic book villain come to life, that's because that's literally what the story is. It's like a villain origin story in real life. Except, you know... it makes the government... It makes the police and the government seem even way more incompetent just because they couldn't even find him. That's enough about the Unabomber. I don't want to give his name any more credit. I advocate for that Twitter post that was like, we need to stop giving serial killers cool names. We need to start giving them really stupid names so they don't want to commit crimes anymore. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Give serial killers dumb names. So that when we remember them as the poopy head killer. Nobody's going to want to be remembered that way. And therefore, that'll disincentivize future serial killers from doing that kind of thing. They're like, well, I don't want to have a stupid name when they put me down in the history books. That'd be dumb. I don't want to be dumb. It's like, well, there's your options. You have two options. Trade offer. The Small Willy Killer. I wouldn't want to kill anyone if I knew that was going to be my nickname after the fact. Frick? Oh no. Hey, no cursing in my chat, by the way. What the hell, dude? TikTok downloads the images out of order. I mean, I guess you'll have to figure it out. Did they just let you download entire albums at once? Yeah, the slideshows. I didn't know they let you do that. I mean, it makes sense. Alright, now I just need to draw this hand and we'll be good. This freaking trumpet. But out of order, apparently. Yeah, I mean, I guess they don't really intend for slideshows to be sequential on TikTok. I'm sure it's meant for, you know, just random images put together in a, you know, slideshow. Like, it really doesn't matter what order your vacation photos are in. Is probably a primary use for that feature. God, this trumpet. I hate it so much. Just this trumpet. I love the trumpet. This one is awful. I don't like it. It's a trombone. Trumpets can't make that slidey sound. Has it been a trombone this whole time? I was in a jazz band in school. You'd think I would know. I'll listen for it again. Oh, you know, you're probably... Yeah, it is probably exactly right on that one. Yeah, you're probably right now that I'm thinking about it. Maybe I just hate the trombone in general. My apologies to the trumpet. Still playing a trumpet on my own. Retroactive apologies to the trumpet. Turns out it's been the trombone that's been the thorn in my side this whole time. I thought it was just a weird-sounding trumpet, but now that you mention it, yeah, it's totally been a trombone this whole time. Trumpet's cool, always has been cool. I've always known that. I've always known that. It's high noon. God, what are hands, dude? I gotta get rid of this whole thing. I think the underlying drawing is the problem here. I think it's just a whack hand drawing. Let's fix that. Let's try a new one. Hands are hard. Nobody tell you otherwise. You know what I need to do? I need to start sketching more in my off hours. Like during break at work, I could start doing that. Keep those fundamentals alive. here, actually. Probably can go down about half a note. Out of all the brass instruments, though, I will say, you gotta give it up for the saxophone. That's a pretty great one. French horn can have its moments. Trombone is probably irredeemable. I'm sure there's good trombone music out there. I just haven't heard it. Maybe the perspective is the issue. That does look a little better, now that I'm considering it from this angle. There, that's a better hand. Better bass for a hand, anyway. Now let's execute and do it properly. I've been playing guitar for a while, and I will say I've been playing slide guitar recently. I dabbled in it before, but I've been playing a lot more recently because I like how it sounds. And if you do slide guitar, you could go all up and down that thing. You could go from the lowest note you can to the highest note you can. You slide all over the place with a slide guitar. Half a note, try 20 notes. It's too much freedom. Can't you do that with any guitar? Yeah, you can do that, just by sliding up and down the fret, but it is definitely a more apparent effect when you're using slide. Or maybe it's just me, but sustaining slides from like a low fret to a high fret seems a little difficult. Generally a quicker kind of thing. With a slide, you can really like take your time on the slides and the sound will sustain through it. Like with those pedals on piano that are built specifically for sustaining sound. Kind of like that. I said this hand was better, and it is, but like, how do I execute this? How does this look? I'm trying to look at my own hand here. Finished uploading? Alright, let's look in a bit. Let me just get this here. Try to get this hand looking decent. Yeah, I'll definitely do a bonus stream on Saturday. We'll do a bonus stream on Fabergé Egg because I feel like I need to make up for some lost time here. 35 JPEGs mask, I swear to God. Okay, let me just go here. Close out some tabs, make room for the new ones. Oh yeah. S-rank placement exam. She's about to start beating fools up again. And then we got Maria again. Dacascus, here she is. Style, nothing. It's not my fault they upload the whole chapters. I think it is your fault that your algorithm here has placed you in the position where you're finding entire chapters of manga. I'm just saying. Might have something to do with your browsing habits. TikTok knows everything. Third attempt is about to begin. The black lipstick is a bold choice for fighting in the ring. So far, pretty standard here. Let's take a look. Some interesting backlighting, pretty simple, not even tone shaded though. Oh, now this is weird. There's like a soft gradient, but for this panel only. This is an interesting composition. The focus is not here, it's the distance between them. Think about it. Oh, and here's where I assume things have gotten out of order, unless this is how it goes. He's just immediately in there. Abstraction of the ring into these lines. That's interesting. We're doing that sketch-style Sakuga thing I was talking about, which I enjoy every time somebody tries to do it. You can't really do it badly. That's how it goes. He's just standing there, and then he's just immediately in the face. Oh my, he's the Tasmanian devil here. Whoosh. Did they really throw backhands in kickboxing? I'm not familiar. Funny thing is, I don't really know the context. Yeah, I mean, I feel like you should just read this series at this point. You've already gotten like 70% of what's going on. There's a lady, she's breaking faces. It's going great. It was a cool panel. Very exaggerated with the lighting, because now it's like underlit for no reason. There's no light coming from beneath them, but they've decided to light it that way dramatically. And also, it's like where the impact is generating light, because he's like front lit. So we see the silhouette. It's like heavy black contrast behind him. So that's a stylistic thing. I'm just stealing ideas at this point for further use. I have just read snippets. I feel like you've read more than snippets at this point. Whether it was by your effort or somebody else's. You have been fed a lot of this series. Oh, we got double page spread. Let's go. The crease would be like right here. So that's interesting. Wham! Jab, bam, bam. Faster. He's going full JoJo. Everyone's freaking out. More double page spreads. He's got lightning coming out of his eyeballs. I'm gonna just feign ignorance and presume that's literal instead of figurative, and that's just really happening. What a page this is. It's got light from his mouth. It's gonna shoot an atomic breath beam. Get away from him. He's gonna Shin Godzilla you into juice, into ooze. He's gonna melt you. He gets past her guard, but then I'm gonna guess her face is unscathed, perhaps? Oh, she's locked and then kicked him. Oh, it was a bait the whole time. God, this lady's cool. Says the story to me through these actions. And it's at this point where I'm starting to think the black lipstick was just purely for shots like this one. The tides have turned. Freaking liver shot at him with a foot. And he's stepping away. This is something I have to get better at. They convey motion through where the character was, by showing these little dash lines, these little dash splashes here. I don't know what you want to call them, but sometimes you'll see it in Berserk too. Let me see if I can find one with Casca, because he does it a lot with Casca. Casca action scene in the manga. I should really be careful bringing. Oh my god, bringing up Berserk like this. There's some messed up stuff. Look at you awake and streaming. Hey, it's not my fault. We had holidays. Be quiet. Oh god, get me out of here. I should have known. I should have known. All right, hold on. We're going back to Clip Studio. If you saw it, you saw it. If you didn't see it, don't narc on me. I should have known better than to bring Berserk up on screen for even half a second. All right, hold on. Let me try and find what I'm talking about. Also, hi, Bird Lady. 10 minutes without a Berserk reference. What do you want from me? Because I'm not going to give it to you if it's not Berserk related. What I miss, pull it back up. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. You'll have to go find it yourself. Where is she? There's like, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to find the effect that I'm talking about. Here, let me see if I just look up Berserk action scene. You sound afraid. If you don't narc on me, then I have no reason to fear. It was artistic anyway. Twitch, try and kill me. You can't. I'm invincible. Oh, wait, did I find an example of it? No, but I did find something similar to the effect that I'm looking for. It was definitely in the earlier chapters of Berserk, where essentially, here, you know what, I'll just illustrate my vague recollection of the concept as they did it in comics. What am I on right now? I'm on here. You're already in prison. What else can they do? I don't know. They could throw me in jail for longer. Basically, what they would do is you got your page here. I know. True. And now it looks like he's holding up the holy document. Oh, he's not. He could, but he wouldn't. Also, they don't have Christianity in this story. Just a vague approximation of it. So you got your... They would be like a character here. And they're fighting dudes who are facing them. He's got like a sword. He's aiming it towards the Hua. And then this character will be like slashing Hua. And then they'll do this thing where they're like... this happened in, like, I think every scene that Casca was in. They'll do like the splash... I'm gonna call them motion splashes because I don't know what else to call them. And the same, this will, you know, it will give this person a defining characteristic, so it's easier to tell. It's a top hat man with a sword. Top hat man with a sword would be over here, and then they would be doing a different action. They'd be swinging in a different direction with the sword. Hey-ya. And then there'd be like a new combatant over here, and they'd be getting wiped out like, oh, no. And then they would move over here with the splash, and then top hat man would be over here doing something. And I always thought these sequences were cool. Because it's almost like those old school, like the first forms of animation where you would put the strip in a wheel, and there would be slats in the side, and the image would be on the inside of like the horse running, and if you spun it around, it would look like it was moving. This is kind of like the comic page equivalent of that, in my opinion. Where it's just sequential imagery put next to each other, but I think it's interesting the way they execute it. So that's what that reminds me of. And I gotta figure out how to incorporate those motion splashes into my own work better. Now, what page were we on? Oh, I'm back here. Get me out of here. Let's check the rest of these pages that Mask sent over. Can't believe I got into a pinch like this. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So on this one. Trying to learn techniques here. And there's a few that I've noticed reading through these, so it's good when he finds a slideshow of an entire chapter that I am now pirating for you on stream, which I have just realized now incriminates me greatly. So, again, I have to reiterate this. Cannot say that. Do not narc. Do not. A lot of the... Oh, there's a good impact smear there. I will never do this stuff. Well, this one's fine. A thud is fine. That's an onomatopoeia, an onomatopoetic word. You can use that. It's when they do stuff that they stay like step and glare. That's the one that kills me so much. I hate this in comics. When they do this with a character, and it's just a facial expression, and it's just like... And then they just write out... And then they just write out they write out glare. I hate this. Like, we can see that. Keck was very funny. I do have to admit, if you're going to write out a sound effect, Keck is probably the only one I will allow, because it does not make sense anywhere. You might as just freaking write out, like, angry. Just do that. It'll be... I will take your scene as seriously as if you did that. Stare is also awful. Thank you. I hate stare, I hate glare, I hate any description of an expression that we can see. To narc or not to narc? You better not. A bam bam slam? What about menacing? Menacing is fine. I think that's just weird enough because it's JoJo. Like, describing a tone? That's truly bizarre. Pun sort of intended. Only after the fact, though. I didn't realize it until I'd said it, but now I want it to be intended, so pun sort of intended. When you write the word scary, basically, on your in your manga panel, that's just funny at that point. And JoJo is always a little silly. We all know this. We all know this to be true. Why you have to be so monosyllabic? Just write a book into that one panel to convey his complex feeling, I know. Might as well. It's always about tell, don't show. I've always said this. It can't end like this. Step. Hiya! He says hiya. That makes sense to me. Look at this musculature, by the way. Freaking sick. Takedown. Grip. Toss. Thud, thud. Like, you don't need this one. You just don't need it. Turns abruptly. Scanlations, I hate you. Turns abruptly. The name is Turns Abruptly. This dude, I do love the facial distortion they do in this, whatever series this is. God, as she punches the blood out of him for miles. Turns him into a freaking can of string, a silly string over here. I almost said string cheese. That's not what it is. What is this panel? This is awful. I'm just gonna say it. There's audience shots that I have seen in my life that are not. This is like, what happened? I think that man is dead. I think this crowd is ghosts. Especially this guy. You got Oogie Boogie from Nightmare Before Christmas watching your boxing event? That's awesome. That's the Kazuma Kiryu treatment. Everything I know about this manga is against my will. I love that audio. You can see where the focus lies in that crowd. Yeah, exactly. This is heinous. What is this? Ma'am, what happened to your fingers? This hand has little nubs. This one has nothing at all. Juxtaposed by cartoon audience. Oh, man. Want me to go finish him? No. He did. He totally does. Match ove. And then this is a lovely shot of our protagonist here. The box woman. I love how unamused she is just at all times. She has never had an emotion in any of the panels I've seen her in. It's perfect artistic intent. How is he alive? Blood splatter like 5 miles. The audience should be tested after this, and he's still alive. He's falling on his butt. He got hit too many times. Hey, it's just been over a minute. He got beaten in half that time. With this crowd. Does this artist just decide to alternate between drawing with their left and right hand between panels? What is happening? That's the only way I could explain this here. My breathing. I need to catch my breath again. Not happening, brother. You got unamused woman on your tail here. Once again, it's my turn. Oh, this poor bastard. He thinks real-life fighting has to do with frame data and stuff. Don't you know you're minus on block with that move, dude? Oh, no, he did an instant over. Oh, God, he's doing drive rush. He's changing the frame. He did a perfect parry. You can never deal with these people. It's just so annoying. I respect. It's like when Junji Ito puts a pretty person next to something horrifying to make this scary thing scarier. I think, oh, you're gonna love this next page. I think this is on purpose. This is probably a drawing that this guy did as a child that it's flashing back to. Again, as Mask said, we don't have the context here. I'm going to assume this is not... I'm going to assume this is on purpose. This seems intentional. Cartoony blob people next to intense action to make it more intense. Okay, yeah, this is a repeated thing that is continuously happening. Maybe he's got like a little brother. So his life of trophies flashed before his eye. It's still happening. Now there's an airplane. Representing him getting punched into the stratosphere with this panel here. There's his letter for Smash Bros. Getting taken away from him. His ego has been high all the time, yeah. What is this? He's crying now. He's actually misremembering his childhood drawings now. These are some dope panels here, I will say. You see, it's really hard to mess up this whole art, this sketchy style here. And then she just cold clocks him. That's a pretty cool use of vertical format. And then he is dead, actually. Yeah, his whole butt is in the air. This dude is dead, 100%. Just a step down from his horse. All the way down. And that is the last page that Mask has sent over to me. I'm sure we can wait until next stream and we'll have, we'll probably have read half of the series when he finds the next slideshow. But yeah, cool stuff, cool techniques as per usual. I do like looking at these. Some good abstraction of shoulder and delt anatomy. Some back muscles there. This spot in particular has always been stylistically vague to me. Like, you could interpret it in so many ways. Especially with the scapula there. It's like, how do you even know? Here he's still alive. He's just going to erase his name. He'll be right as rain. Now let's go back to whatever I was doing. Sorry to say. We're looking at his muscular ghost. I would like to be a muscular ghost. It wouldn't make sense because I was never a muscular human, but I wouldn't mind being a muscular ghost. Doodle-dee. I did the problem of drawing everyone in armor in my first chapter. I should have drawn somebody super buff to get that initial appeal. Switch between cartoon and series reminds me of Sunken Rag. Yeah, Boichi will do that a lot. I think his name's Boichi, if I'm not mistaken. And also, you could tell he definitely knows how to draw dudes better than women. His women just kind of look like aliens with giant eyes and boobs, of course, because, you know, of course you're gonna draw that. That's just how the industry trends happen. I hope there'll be muscular ghosts in your comic too, Zote. I mean, there's muscly dudes and ladies, so I don't know if they're ghostly. Some of the muscular figures in my comic, I do plan on killing them at some point. With some dramatic conflict going on. So I guess in a sense the ghosts would be muscular if you were to see them as ghosts. See if I find the name of the manga. He's only made a few, that Boichi guy. Unless you're talking about something completely different. There, this hand looks marginally better than the other one. And by marginally, I mean very much so better than the other one. It might have to be the one that we accept for this. Oh, what is it? What have you discovered, Mask? Bring it to my attention right now. Do it. How'd I draw your dang fingers? Okay, I like that. The manga is called Fight Class 3. Let's take a look. Oh, there's some beefy lads in these ones. Is that a beefy lady I see? I can't tell. I will refrain and withhold my interest until I can confirm or deny. Oh, that's one. Perfect. Alright, I'm interested. I will now oh, you found the name of this manga. I see. It is Fight Class 3. That is the name of the thing we have been looking at. Okay, okay. I get what you mean now. Also, I want to talk about something weird I found on TikTok. Sure thing. As long as it's not too weird. I'm not yawning, you're yawning, but also, the standard for weirdness is it's very diluted at this point on this stream. This thing called RCTA, which means race change to Asian. I remember a guy doing that when he wanted to look like that K-pop star. Forget the name of that. Was old. What? I mean, it seems like it'll be pretty self-explanatory based on that. There are like whole communities. You know, it's weird because normally when you hear about Asian communities and the whole race change thing, they usually talk about skin whitening, which, from what I understand, is a common practice in some areas. Is it Taiwan that's one of them? I forget. But skin whitening or lightening, I know is a common thing that people did. I don't know if it's still common, but it was at one point. Like Discord groups about it, and the creepiest thing is they do this thing called claiming faces. What does that mean? Yeah, exactly. Please elaborate on that one. Like, they grab random people's photos and say they claim their face. Oh, okay. What? You're here to be banned again, you care? Say no more, my friend. Welcome back, Steak. Permanently banned. He's not coming back. Quickest ban of my life. That has more to do with me. I'm the one with the trigger finger. I'm skillful on the draw. I demand respect. Like, get their face in surgery. Yeah, that's like what that K-pop dude did. I forget the name of the member. I think it was a member from BTS, but some guy has just spent like tens of thousands of dollars trying to look like that BTS member. So yeah, this is not an unknown phenomenon to me, but that is weird that people are still doing that, and there's communities for it. There's more to life to being banned. I don't know, Swan. Why don't you give it a shot? See? It's invigorating, isn't it? Don't you feel a rush every time I do that? Like, just getting banned? It's like, it's rejuvenating. Like they're freaking skinwalkers? Is there? I've only ever been banned. I don't know why I'm not an innocent pure. Why? I'm an innocent pure angel. No, no, I don't. That was uncalled for. What are you talking? Here, let me try again. Or what about what about that time? Was it better the second time? Well, that's just rude. I don't want to see that in my chat. You can't say something nice. There is a quick adrenaline spike. It's exhilarating. See, I knew it. It for sure is getting the blood boiling. See, everybody else agrees. There is a rise happening. Anyway, you're free to go. For now. Call me a chicken nugget. You're the only bird in this chat. You're a burnt cheese curd. They're getting somehow more tame the angrier she gets. Create a Discord community and claim bans. You're a day-old donut. Yeah, you guys are getting worse at this, actually. I think, you know, if I just let you keep going, you're going to be calling me handsome and cool, so I'll just let it ride. You're the smartest guy I know. See, I knew it would happen. I just had to wait long enough. Open up your donos so I could give you money. I don't have a place to do that. Also, if you want to give me money, I already told you, I'll do commissions. That way people get stuff in return. I'm not opening donos, maybe ever, but at least not for a long time. You're ascending goblinanity and become a deity in my eyes. Well, I'm glad to hear. I surely am an handsome guy. That's a callback, everyone. Callback to the Princess Mononoke typo that is still in the Blu-ray that I just got. You're a PB&J without the peanut butter. What is... That's just like that. You've created within me a sense of profound emptiness, and I hope you know that. You've gone too far. Well, it's been fun streaming today, guys, but I'm gonna have to call a little bit early for no reason in particular, but, you know, just feeling a little under the weather, I guess, for, just came out of nowhere, really. Hey, I learned how to insult. Thanks, guys. Yeah, that's how we get Ann. Handsome. He's a pizza without the sauce. Thank God I finally wounded him. Yeah, you bleed, says Batman. No, says Superman, eating a peanut butter sandwich. I feel a little rejuvenated. Well, at least you got there at some point. Some way, somehow. And I've drawn this hand to the degree that I think is satisfactory for what I wanted to convey with the hand. So, we have all improved our days a little bit. This is why we enjoy torturing. What am I, some sick analog? Until Swan goes live? Schadenfreude. Schadenfreude? Schauden? Shit. I don't know. I've never learned. The 3 hardest things to say in the world. I was wrong. I need help. The Worcestershire saw. Worcestershire. That's a good meme, if you haven't seen that one. What? No, it's not the same. I don't ban you at all. Schadenfreude. Thank you. I was trying to figure it out. Schadenfreude. Schaden. I'm still not... Give me a... hold. What?
Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude. Don't you German at me. Oh, you can slow it down too.
Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude. Did you know that Schadenfreude is a German word? I did know. I just didn't know how to say it, because I'm stupid. Your chat in other ways that don't readily come to mind. That don't readily... What a way to dismantle your own argument before it even begins. I can't even think of what's wrong about you, but if I could, then oh boy, I'd have a whole list of things to throw at you. You don't even know how over it would be if it was even close to being over. Tell him in German that he would be nothing without peanut butter. Don't you freaking do that. It's true, but we don't have to say that. It would go something like, I'm not even going to try. I'm going to say something wrong. I'm going to say a slur in German somehow. I don't know. Now you're calling me a taco without salsa? I can read that. I'm basically a genius. Multilingual, multifaceted. Anyway. That just the German quality sounds harsher in German. Yeah, it is. It's a bold language. Ah, I've zoomed out. Where is this panel? There it is. This one should be... I think we did all the balancing that I wanted to do. Just check up on this background one again. Yeah, that looks good. We just need to draw the other lads in the background here, which I will do later, I suppose. What a lasso. I like diminutives in Spanish, like zotancito. What does that mean? Zotanita? Pobrecito, zotancito. Zontancito? Zotan, can you play this? Let me see what it is. Mighty Goose original soundtrack. What is Mighty Goose? An action game by Blast Mode. Let me pause the Zelda. Oh, this is that... Okay. This is the one I think Swan wanted to play. I think. It just makes you smaller, but linguistically... Oh, I see. What does it make smaller? Choose your words carefully, Steak. Is everything? So I guess that you would go straight for the stepping on me, wouldn't you? You sick bastard. You twisted you twisted sister, you. Wait, he might like that. Don't act like this is a me thing. This is a you thing, 100%. And we all know it. That's you, Steak. Exactly. It's you. I'm just like a guy. A normal guy with no weird fetishes at all. I've never had a weird thought in my life. Well, I get banned and not harassed. You brought it upon yourself. You stepped into the... You stepped, pun fully intended, into this fight. You're not gonna get out unscathed. No love. Absolutely not. I am the comical relief in this cast. I am the Ryuji of this cast. Do I mean, if you're just gonna keep self-reporting, I'll just let you go off, you know? It's like Sun Tzu said, if your opponent's making a mistake, just let him keep going. You can call yourself Ryuji all you want. I won't stop. Your Twitter recommendations would say otherwise. No, you've never seen them. I've only talked about them. I could have been lying the whole time. I wasn't, but I could have. Zotan is the Yosuke. I'm fine with being the Yosuke, because it's true. Make his mouth smaller. The fact that you're on Twitter tells me to teach. I'm not on Twitter. I get recommended stuff from Twitter, and I have yet to turn off my notifications. I'm on Reddit. So yes, I'm still a D, but for a different reason. I'm not a Twitter degen, I'm just a regular old Reddit degen. Which is to say, any Reddit user at all. Pretty good song, by the way. What's the best social media degen to be? Honestly, the Reddit one isn't too bad. Because you could sort of isolate yourself into certain communities. There's some Reddit communities that are bad. A MySpace degen? No, if you're still on MySpace in the year 2023, you have to be clinically insane. So deceased? Yeah, if you want to be dead, I guess that's your prerogative. Dahlia, what does your freaking nose look like again? Little triangle? Alright. I would argue these days, Reddit is one of the least offensive social media platforms to be on. And by offensive, I mean really in all senses of the word. The type of content you'll find on there is much less egregious than what you'll find on Twitter, unless you're looking for it. Maybe that's the main reason. I mean, I wish, but I'm trapped in this mortal coil. Twitter, you could just find anything, even if you're not looking for it. That's Twitter's main issue. If you're on Reddit, you can filter what you get angry at. That's exactly what a Redditor would say. I know, and that's why it's better than Twitter, at least. What, are you defending Twitter now? Tell me in good faith that you want to defend Twitter right now. I'll wait. We're significantly less... What do you mean we? Swan is open. She is exposing herself as a Twitter user. 100%. I can't wait until the Swan-drawn art account becomes just rife with alt-right propaganda. Starts retweeting Elon's posts about how slave labor is cool, actually. I've seen your Midna art recommendations, O10. That was one time. My discoverability on Twitter is garbage. And also, I sent you those. In confident... No, that was on stream, actually. Thinking about making a Threads at this point? I mean, why not? Go back. Let's go back to Tumblr, everyone. I already see them talking about it. Oh, yeah, the music. The music is over. He said that? I mean, in so many words. I'm glad that I'm not really on any social media except Twitch and YouTube, I guess. That's basically where I hang out. Reddit a little bit. Going back to DeviantArt. Heck, y'all, don't go to DeviantArt. They got AI art all over the place. Like a plague over there. DeviantArt sucks now. I don't know if you heard the news. See you in the coal mines. Tumblr is like the only place it's looking like where people are gonna just have to migrate back to. Or you could go on Newgrounds. Pixiv 2. Let me see if I can find something good to recommend. Something Zotan Core. Don't you ever say Liam Core to me again. I'll ban you, Mask. And that's not something I do often. Generally the more well-behaved chat member in this whole room. Calm down, Liam, it's a joke. There we go. How many messages? Oh, there we go. Oh, here's Twitter. Oh, that's very nice. Yeah, that is very good. I do like that. Thank you. Check another account. Oh, 18,000 followers. They're putting out this stuff. What the heck? Underrated. They're doing Casca Kill la Kill crossovers. Sorry, Berserk Kill la Kill crossovers. That is a very good account. Thirsty Thursday. I'm not going to click on it. It's trending on Twitter. I could click. I'm not going to do it. I'm not even going to give them the satisfaction. By them, I mean Twitter and also you people. Another one? Alright, here we go. That's also very good. I do like that. Okay. These are calming me down, so I do appreciate these. Goodbye, Grimace. Although my alt account is also my art account, I have an alt account, and they're both art accounts. And when I make a third account for this comic, it's going to be an art account for this comic. So, you know, it's all art here, man. That's all I can do. That's all I can offer the world. Can't offer them, like, me playing a sport. I'm not good at sports. This is all I got. Take it or leave it. This is the last of my hormone. Take it from me, all of that, etc., etc. Gets crushed under rock. Sorry, spoilers. What's this one? Ooh, look at that. And then the first comment, ugh, your art is beyond this universe. What a compliment. Or an insult. Depends on, yo, this Metagross looks pretty sick. How do they render like this? I gotta wonder. I don't enjoy all this art being hidden away on alt accounts. I only have one alt account that you don't know about. And that is the spicy one. And you'll never find it. Never, ever. Very minimal. Do they traditionally do this stuff? I have to wonder. This looks like marker. But it's so clear. It's gotta be digital too, right? I guess just not blending your stuff and just having a good awareness for shape language, maybe? I've seen a good art rendering tutorial that I loosely follow. I've seen a few over the years. It's all about, for me at this point in my artistic journey, I really just have to commit to a style. Whatever it is. And so far, this one that I have for this comic is what I'm going to be rolling with for a while. And the one that I have for the commissions is a little bit different, but it's essentially a similar workflow, which is why I feel comfortable with it. But like this, for more rendered work, it's just like smooth. There's not a whole lot of texture to it. The texture that I do implement comes in through the through line art and what have you, my ability to actually draft it. So I like having that as a foundation. But other than that, I don't really get too textural with things in terms of rendering. I wish I could. There's some glass texturing up here with like the reflective stuff. But other than that, I don't really go too in depth rather. And I wish I could figure out. That'll just result in, you know, I'll need trial and error at some point. Just some block of time in the future to experiment. But for now, I'm pretty set in my routine. Speaking of routine, I think it's about time. Yeah, I got like half an hour. It's about time that I flatten in these base colors here. Where is page 1? There it is. That's not how that was supposed to go. Just color the line art over. The boring part, as it were. Is the village OST? Let me throw it back real quick. Get out of here. Pick that thing back up. We're pleased. Wait, that wouldn't even work. This is her face. It's gotta be the skin color. I can only hope that in 7 years, when I'm still working on this comic, yep, that'll happen, but I can look back on these pages and legitimately see improvement, as opposed to not that, which would be so sad. I always ask for the song at the club. It's a banger. How many clubs have you been kicked out of in your life? Just random. Just a random question I gotta ask. How many breads have you eaten in your life? Found some Zotan core? I'll be the judge of that. In a moment. Like 5 or 6. Oh! Whoa! Alright. Now we're talking. I draw strong lady. I feel like I've been on this account before. Actually. I've had to have stumbled across this before. Oh, yeah. It's all coming back now. It's all coming back to me now. And this because it's cool. Clicks fall. I'm pretty sure I'm already following on my other account. Ooh, pencil on paper. Probably my favorite. Hell is a teenage girl. What is going on in the Twitter recommended things? RWRB movie? What? The what? I'm gonna stop looking at Twitter trending. I've shared it here before. Yeah, I do remember this account. It's a cool drawing, though. Very good rendering here. Miles Johnston. That sounds like a name I would make up. But he's just a really phenomenal pencil artist. By the looks of it. Yeah, I'll follow that. What am I on my Zodahan at the Draws account? Yeah, we'll do that. Really cool stuff here. Look at the dappled lighting on this headless lady in the forest. It's pretty good. I'm partial to drawing headless women myself. Sometimes, wherever that showed up. There it is. See, I draw headless people. Has he done all those identical people? I don't know. I mean, he's got good consistency with the figure. My old account's name is Toby Fair, like to be fair. It's a very good account alt name. I'm very simple with my account names. Because I simply cannot put too much effort into those. It's been Zotan for as long as I can remember. Since I started having an online presence. Actually, I'm kind of glad that Google Plus died, because if I talked about my Google Plus account with any of you guys, you would know my real name. And that's not like the biggest invasion of my privacy. Actually, I'm pretty sure Swan might know my real name. I don't know. It depends on how much she stalks the order page. Maybe I've actually always given her a fake name. We'll see. But my real name is Zotan, for sure, is what I mean to say. It's on the birth certificate. I can't show it, but it's true, 100%. You gotta believe me. But yeah, Google Plus, my Google Plus account did have my real name on it, so maybe it's for the best that it died forever. Are you really a gal? Of course. Of course. And I actually move at 2 frames. And that's it. 2 frames per second. It's unsettling to look at in real life. And behold with the eyes. Because you look like a moldy grilled cheese. What is with the food-based insult? What, you guys gotta be hungrier. So go eat a sandwich and then come back to my chat room and then try to insult me. That's what I think is wrong here. The vibes are all off because y'all are hangry. And it's all this stale food. Are you guys good? Has all the food expired in all of your homes collectively? You gotta eat stuff before it goes bad. Otherwise, you're contributing to food waste in America. I just ate you, turnip. I'm not even sure how to respond to that. Not all of them. What did he mean by it? Did he mean to call me a turnip and say that he ate me? As in, I just ate you, comma, turnip? Or did he mean to say that he ate my turnip, something that I had heretofore never mentioned having in the first place? The heat does not help with preserving things for long. Well, then don't buy so many things. Or buy things that are non-perishable. Like, buy a bag of Cheez-Its. That'll stay good for, like, 6 months. Regardless of the external conditions. You might say, Zotan, you can't subsist entirely off of Cheez-Its. I beg to differ. I did exactly that in my senior year of high school. Nothing but Cheez-Its. Maybe a little bit of peanut butter. I'm sure it was always there behind me. Like the Moonlight Greatsword. Food in cans works too. Yeah, just get non-perishable items or canned goods that won't expire in like a week. Stop leaving your grilled cheese sandwiches out on the counter and then expecting them to be good. After like 20 minutes. For Zotan. Alright, let me show that one. Oh. Hell yeah, brother. God, I wish that were me. Either one. This is a person based off a megalodon. That's pretty sick. Oh, they do some spooky stuff. Something I saw in a dream, the Leviathan Eater. Brother, if I had a dream like this, I would never recover. Are you kidding me? Something I saw in a dream. If I saw this in a dream, I would never post online again. I'd be too busy committing myself to the insane asylum. Demanding electroshock therapy so that I would never have to see that again. I wouldn't want to think properly after that. What a nightmare beast. I guess this is why they draw shark women. I mean, like, there's some kind of trauma inherent within that. Like, if you see this in dreams, you're gonna you're gonna cope somehow. They be drawing some creepy, like, I saw this post. Let me go back. Like, I saw these, and I'm like, oh, cool, they just draw buff, like, anthro shark ladies. And then, no, turns out their main bread and butter is drawing the creepiest underwater Lovecraftian horrors that you've ever seen. But now I'm scrolling even further, also it's getting lewd. I'm gonna slow down a bit. What is... Oh, they have an NSFW account. Thank goodness for thank you for blessing my stream with safety. I don't know if I want to be that artist. Well, I scrolled even further down, and it seems like they were completely fine. They just went back to drawing the anthro stuff. Like, here's anthro stuff, and then the Leviathan Eater, and this creepy guy, and then it just goes right back into the anthro anime stuff, and I'm like, what do you... Where did these come from? What did these two... What? That must have been a bad week. You could even see it up here in the top right. It's like, yeah, what the hell? And then we go back to it. Furry art, yeah. As it would seem. Furry art with a little bit of Lovecraftian horror in there. The unknowable fear of the deep sea. And what may or may not lie within. And, you know, just more anthro girls. What a weird tonal shift they had when they posted that day. The Leviathan Eater. I need to check the accounts before sharing. No, you're fine. I should be the one who's a little less gung-ho with the, oh, cool, let me just click on that and bring it up on screen right now. That is my prerogative. You do not have to worry about it. If you would like to post an account and then mention, don't scroll down too far, as a reminder to myself, that would be appreciated, but you do not feel pressured to have to do anything. Because it is not your fault if I do that to myself. And also, my stream is probably still so small, and probably will be small for a long time, to the point where that will not matter. Again, I think only you people are in here that would be capable of reporting me to the big guys upstairs, so don't narc on me, and we'll be fine. I'm gonna narc. I'll freaking ban you. I'll ban you before they get me. Then everyone dies, and no one's happy. Like in several movies that I won't name, because that's a spoiler if I name them. A Twitter account. This one is just gonna be a whole boob, isn't it? No, it's a cloud. Okay. Phew. International Kissing Day. What? Is that today, or what's going on Twitter trending? Apparently that's today. Interesting. I had no idea. Stop banning me, maybe I'll stop narking. I don't know. You haven't narked once, as far as I'm aware. As far as I'm aware. Christian Young. He's an MS Paint user, but he makes stuff that looks like he used literally any other art software. I don't know how people do this in MS Paint, man. It's crazy. Makes it look like an industry standard software somehow. What was that? What was what? What was... what? The screaming? Oh, that was a Street Fighter 6 ad that showed up for like half a second, and I paused it. Not a poltergeist. Or some kind of banshee in my room. It was specifically Marissa batting somebody in the face. I didn't see who it was, but that's who was on screen. And the caption was pretty horny on main. It was take all her love, all of it. So, Street Fighter 6 crew, I know we haven't all moved past the jury post that they were doing, but they're still being horny. They have not stopped. Street Fighter 6 official Twitter was the first place talking about jury feet pics, and the game wasn't even out yet. How much time we got? I got like 10 minutes to rough in the rest of these. I could do that. Let me blitzkrieg this. And then I'll unfortunately have to stop streaming. I will do a bonus stream on Saturday, though, to make up for the day I missed yesterday. Because I've been missing too many days recently, and I want to make up for that. Has feet A+ character design. Stop sending me Twitter stuff. I appreciate it, but like, this close to the end of the stream. Oh my god, it is cute, though. Stop. It's great, but I can't. 600 followers. Underrated. And it's I don't know if they draw these. Do they draw these? They must. Checks in peace for more than 2 hours a day without the biting reality of capitalism being there at every corner. Gotta make some dude I'll never meet more profits this quarter. I still think it's funny that they tell you those kind of details like I should care at all. Like the manager at my position, or at the store that I work in, he should care about inventory numbers, but we did inventory a couple months ago. Maybe a few months ago by now. And that happens like a couple times a year. And at the end of it, the assistant manager, basically my direct supervisor, he said, yeah, they did the inventory, the numbers weren't great, and I was just thinking to myself, like, what do I even care about the numbers? I just put the stuff on the shelf and I take your money. I do not care about the performance of the store, other than I hope that it actually stays in business for as long as I need it to. Other than that, I don't care what the inventory number... I didn't do anything about it. I didn't contribute to the inventory. If anything, I helped. I was the only reason that inventory numbers weren't even worse than they were. In my eyes, we're probably only in business because I work there. If you think about it that way, I'm doing great things for this shop. Just one more guy. And then I will have a 2.5 hour long VOD to upload to YouTube. And then a 5-minute part 2 to that same VOD. Won't that be something? I am simply too lazy to throw. I'd have to download the VODs and I have to throw them into some editing software and then I'd have to put them together, and that's far too much work. I would rather just make 2 different thumbnails. One of them saying July 6th, and then the other one saying July 6th and a half. Which is how I usually do those. A lot of my VODs are getting broken up recently, and I don't know why. I don't know why my internet decided to drop for half a second this stream. If it wasn't my internet, it would have been a power outage, so I guess I prefer this over the alternative. Because power outage takes way longer to get back online. I don't even know if I would have justified getting back online if it went out today. At the time that it did, with only like 5 minutes left to stream. But speaking of the end of the stream, I have now done. I have flatted in the colors, the base layer anyway. Not the actual flats, but I've done the base layer, and that's gonna be it for me. do a little Control 0. Really just let that linger for a second. Look at all this fine work I did. Endings. Thank you all for stopping by. More stream tomorrow for sure. And then bonus stream on Saturday to make up for missing past couple of days. Really? Will I do one on Sunday as well? Who knows? I might just keep streaming all week long, make up for both days that I missed, even though technically one of them was a holiday. I don't really care. I don't care. I'll do it anyway. See you later, Sticky. How dare you? But also, Sticky again, it comes full circle with this freaking chicken nugget assault. Whatever. You'll see. When I'm king of the prom, you'll see. You'll all see. Anyway, I'm gonna go off and practice how to put on a corsage later. Bye-bye.